Last year, I made a video in which I turned Elden Ring into a Pokémon game. I did this by summoning different bosses and enemies that I had caught and making them battle like you do in Pokémon. I had a lot of fun doing this, and I guess you guys liked it too. I wanted to do it again, but I didn't want to rehash the same premise. So, to keep things fresh, I completely randomized the game. Bosses, overworld enemies, items, everything. And, to beat the game, I need to collect all 7 gym badges to make it to the final boss. The badges are still earned from their respective boss fights, which can vary pretty wildly in difficulty. And, to make things a bit tougher, I won't be able to use any gym leaders this time around. That includes the champion duo of Radagon and the Elden Beast. And to throw one more wrench into the operation, I won't use any of the Eldamon that were on my winning team last time. That means no BBK, no Crusader, no Elmo, no Beastie Boy, no Gohan, and obviously no Melania. That way we have a brand new mix of winners. If you haven't watched the first video, I strongly recommend watching it now because I'm going to be referencing it a lot and I go over all the rules and stuff there. But before we do anything else, I've got to pay the bills. Raid Shadow Legends is a completely free-to-play game that you can play on your mobile device or, like me, on your desktop. A cool thing about Raid is that there's a lot of strategy when it comes to winning battles in the PvP arena. For example, having a team with high speed means that you'll often attack first in battles, which can be a huge advantage. Raise your team's speed by using artifacts, champion skills, or other sorts of buffs. A fast team is a winning team. Raid also has a special Valentine's event going on right now. If you're new to the game, just download Raid from the link below and enter your player ID at raidlovequest.plarium.com. And if you're an older player, you can use the promo code on screen for a special Valentine's gift. Play some of the Valentine's themed mini-games for a chance to win in-game and real-life prizes such as Valentine's themed champions and Amazon gift cards worth up to $1,000. This event runs from February 14th to March 14th, so get on it while you can. And if you haven't started playing Raid yet, click my link in the description or scan the QR code here on screen. You'll get unique bonuses worth $35, including free epic champion Jotun and other useful stuff. Thanks to Raid for their support. Now let's get back to the video. So obviously, the first thing I have to do is make a character. I pretty much copy and pasted Dumpy Ketchum, our previous Eldamon protagonist, but I gave her blue hair and a different outfit this time. Also, the Wretch class came with a dagger, cause, you know, the whole random thing, and I figured I'd just stick with that. It's about as bad as the club, maybe even worse. Our first obstacle, Grafted Adon. Yeah, that didn't work out too well for me. Last time, I chose a starter from a few existing Spirit Ashes, but this time I'm gonna let my starter be whoever the universe picks. Whichever boss replaces the Soldier of Godric will be my starter. Oh, that's pretty neutral. I caught the Pumpkinhead, rode the elevator, and was ready to really begin my journey in the world of Eldamon. Oh hey, it's Gohan! I think. I don't know. O'Neil and Niall look the f***ing same. I got my bike, met my professor, got the spirit calling bell, and set to work on filling up my team. Hey, that's not Gohan. It's O'Neil. That means I can catch him. Alright, I've got a full team, a pretty tough one at that, so let's go heat check Margit. Oh, you are fucking kidding me. Okay, well I guess now's as good a time as any to discuss scaling. With the randomizer, all bosses and enemies are scaled to be about as strong as the boss or enemy that is usually in their place. So, to be totally honest, facing Radagon this early means that he's gonna be about as weak as he could be. That doesn't mean it was easy by any means though. It took almost every Eldamon I had. I managed to keep them all alive though, something I really had to work on after last time I did this. Well, that was a pretty major boss to fight right off the bat, and I can't add him to my team, but it opens the door for me, or gate, I guess, to fight the next boss. This will be our first gym battle, and it's against... Oh, well, that's kind of interesting. The problem for them is that they're already kind of weak when you're supposed to fight them, and now they're scaled down, so they got pretty rocked. Well, I guess we'll take it. Our first gym badge, the Grafted Badge. Now, I'm gonna head straight for our next boss, but while I do, I'd like to talk to you about something. Recalling. Some of you thought I was letting Eldamon die in the first video because it looks like I'm not recalling them. I get why you would think that, but let me show you how long it takes to recall an Eldamon. Yeah, man, it takes ages. You can swap Eldamon out super fast, but straight up recalling them takes a really, really long time. Just so you know. And look at that, just in time to see who our next boss is. Oh shit, that is quite the jump in difficulty. Well, we rolled the other bosses in our way. I don't see why this should be any different. Oh no, Pumpkinhead! F you, you stinky teleporting motherfucker. Okay, I'm not sure if I'm ready for that yet. Things were moving pretty fast, maybe too fast, so let's slow down a bit and build a team capable of taking out Godfrey. I need to fill the last slot on my team, and I want to be very picky about this slot. Someone with more health than the Yeoman Killer, someone who won't get stuck in a smaller arena like the Knights Cavalry, someone like the Godskin Apostle. Let's give Godfrey another shot. The Misbegotten started hot, but ultimately got overwhelmed by Godfrey. I sent out O'Neil, but he kinda got spawn trapped, and I almost lost him. The Tree Crucible Knight, as I call him, did really well at first, but he doesn't have much health, so I almost lost him too. Godfrey's at half health, and I've got half my mons left. I summoned the Beastman, and he got deleted. So there goes my advantage. It took me forever to even find a spot to summon again, but I eventually got the Crucible Knight out. He got some hits in, but he was just not on the same level, and he got killed. My last hope, my ace in the hole, Slim Shady. Yeah, I know I played it up that this was gonna work, and that Slim Shady would be our hero, but he died. I lost. It was close, though. This was my first major loss, a pretty rough one at that. It would unfortunately not be my last. I went out and caught some other Eldamon, but that team was no match for Godfrey either. He wiped almost that entire party, and I had nothing to show for it. I went back out and ran into a boss that I think is in contention for MVP for this entire run, Godofroy. Catching Godofroy was huge for me, because this guy is actually way tougher than Godric. He has almost double the health and hits even harder. He just doesn't have a second phase, which, now that I think about it, is pretty much the only distinction between him and Godric. Godofroy was a f***ing animal. There's an Erdtree avatar that replaces Exyx, and he was insanely tough, but Godofroy chopped him down like Paul Bunyan, or George Washington. Why is there so much American mythos about deforestation? I mean, I guess there's like Johnny Appleseed or whatever. I'm getting distracted. Godofroy is really strong. With him and the Erdtree avatar, I felt ready to take down Godfrey for real. I started with O'Neil. I like to start with him because he always tries to summon his own Eldamon when he's summoned, just like he does when you fight against him. He was about to let a nuke rip, but then he got stunned, and I pulled him out before he could get killed. I sent him the Duelist next. He didn't do so hot. Godfrey is just too aggressive for any Eldamon to handle that isn't super powerful. My next Eldamon, the Rune Bear, ran into the same problem. Okay, half my mons down, I need the big boys. Next up, the Tree Sentinel. He put some damage on the board, but ended up getting absolutely tossed. I haven't lost any Eldamon yet, but I'm not looking too good. The Erdtree avatar managed to get Godfrey to half health, but I had to pull him pretty quickly. I had one last Eldamon left, Godofroy. Godfrey versus Godofroy will go down as one of the most shocking upsets in Eldamon history. He ran in, and for the first time since I've seen Godfrey, made it clear that he was heavily scaled down. This is something I didn't even think about, but Godfrey is so much weaker than he would normally be, so him getting shredded by a much higher scaled boss makes sense. The funny thing about Godfrey is that he wasn't even a gym leader, and he gave me that much trouble. Just goes to show how different the game can be with a randomizer. Now though, I have one super strong addition to my team. I was a little nervous after my Godfrey beating, but cheesing the Nameless White Mask made me feel better. Okay game, who do we have instead of Renala? Oh, come the f*** on. Yeah, the Elden Beast. Right after Godfrey. Well, I was freaked out until I realized that this was the Elden Beast scaled to Renala's Phase 1. I sent in Godfrey and he pieced the Elden Beast up. He dodged its attacks, he hit it from behind, not like that. He did great, and single-handedly defeated the Elden Beast. But there's a Phase 2. Phase 2 was the Godskin Noble. This guy gave me some trouble before, so I recalled Godfrey right away. I sent in the Erdtree avatar, but realized that I had set him up for failure with this matchup. I swapped him out for Godofroy, and the Godskin Noble didn't stand a chance. That is badge number 2, the Full Moon Badge.
Portasax Millicent White Mask Foray, Beltuid Zenarius Necromancer Garrus, Onyxor Patches Selecto Morgoth, Australians Rogier, Bangaroon Horaloo, Elden Mom.
Greetings, Tarnished. I am Professor Rani. Please consider becoming a member to dumpykong's YouTube channel for only $5 a month. Every time Dumpy uploads, you'll get access to a behind-the-scenes video. In this membership video, Dumpy shows some changes he made from the first video, an entire run that was scrapped, and a walkthrough on how you can try this yourself, not to mention the full version of the Elder rap you just heard. You'll also be invited to dumpykong's member Discord, where you can become part of the video making process by suggesting ideas and sharing your thoughts. Thank you for your support. Let's get back to the video.
Let's keep this train rolling and make our way to Lanedale. To enter Lanedale, we have to beat... Oh, that's easy. Or so I thought. This guy was made of f***ing steel, dude. Look at this. Runebear is doing no f***ing damage. Like, hardly any at all. The only possible explanation is that the Tibia Mariner just got super roided up from being scaled to the Draconic Tree Sentinel. That being said, this fight took me a century. All of my Eldamon were hitting him with pillows. Not even pillows, with, like... I don't know, dude, nothing. Godfroy, my hardest hitting Eldamon, was hardly putting up numbers at all. He eventually got bored and just left. I don't blame him. Godfrey and his ultimate big explosion move hardly did 100 damage. O'Neil actually ended up being my savior because he was able to inflict Scarlet Rot, which was a very effective way to do damage to this guy. Like 9 hours later, I swapped O'Neil for the Erdtree avatar and realized that the Mariner was super weak to holy damage. Probably could have started there. But with gray hair and a bad back, I beat the Mariner and gained access to the capital. I'm not wasting any time here. I'm going straight to Godfrey. Or, I guess, you know, whoever replaces Godfrey. And it's... Loretta! Yeah, I like Loretta. Aw, man, I don't like Loretta. Okay, let's try this again. Wow, I think the Godskin Noble is a little too strong. Maybe I should nerf him. Well, that'll nerf him. Third time's the charm, right? Well, I lost my battle mage, but I did manage to catch Loretta, which opens up the path to the third gym leader. Dude, what did I do to deserve this? Before I talk about how messed up having Radagon into Godfrey into Elden Beast into Malenia is, I want to first talk about some technical aspects of this whole thing. As you can see, sometimes Eldamon just don't want to cooperate. They may fight for a couple seconds, but then they'll walk around aimlessly, glitching in and out of existence. I call this lazy mons. It's not because they're being lazy, it's not their fault. The game just freaks out sometimes because, you know, the whole Eldamon thing. This happens for several reasons, but I'm not sure why it happens here. I'll figure it out later, but for now, Malenia. Let's go check on my good friend Radon. Or, you know, you guys get it by now. In place of Radon, we have Mohg. Huh. So I brought up the Lazymon thing for context here, because he actually can't summon in Radon's arena. Well, you can summon, but not your own summons, just the summons on the field. That means we're gonna have some guest Eldamon for this fight. Well, that was the plan. The problem is that they are super weak, like they hardly do any damage at all. And when they get Mohg down to like half health, he boots up phase 2 where he heals almost all of it back. So, what can I do? There's a code in the cheat table that allows you to summon Eldamon anywhere. It doesn't really work though, it makes them be Lazymon. But I figured it out. I used all of the Eldamon available to me on the field to weaken Mohg. Then, when they were all exhausted and couldn't be summoned again, I summoned my own Lazymon and let them each get a little bit of damage in. The Tree Sentinel missed, the Erdtree avatar missed one of its 2 attacks, Loretta didn't even try, but it was Godfroy, my goat, that closed this out. He decided he didn't want to be some lazy, glitchy loser. He fought his heart out and crushed Mohg, earning me my 3rd badge. I figured that with the path to Nokron open, I might as well go see what Eldamon are available to me there, instead of slamming my head on the wall that is Malenia. I descended into Nokron and found, an empty room? I lit the torches, touched a dead elk, reindeer, and faced off against Morgoth. Dude, I can't even catch you! Well, I still killed him. Let's check out the Deep Root Depths. In place of the Valiant Gargoyles is the Regal Ancestor Spirit. You can tell it's the Regal one because it heals and the normal one doesn't do that. I caught him and climbed into the coffin that leads to the Deep Root Depths. I wanted to check out who was in place of Crucible Knight Siluria, and it was none other than a Magma Worm. I summoned Godofroy to catch it, and then tragedy struck. The Magma Worm killed me while Godofroy was summoned, which means that I lose Godofroy. Such a dumb mistake led to the loss of my best Eldamon. Rest in peace, my friend. I didn't want to risk any other Eldamon, so I just left the Magma Worm alone. But I'm not out yet. I put the Regal Ancestor Spirit on my team in Godofroy's place and went to see who replaces Fia's champions. Dude, what? I just caught a better version of this guy. Well, whatever, this shouldn't be hard, right? Well, it wouldn't have been, but for some reason my team caught a mean case of the Lazy Mons, and I was left to fend for myself. This fight is one of the easiest in the game though, so it was no big deal. My dagger was no help at all though, that's for sure. I kept missing. This fight took me 20 minutes, but I caught him. This makes it possible for me to fight against whoever takes place of the Lich Dragon Fortisax. But first, I gotta do Fia's quest. But first, I gotta do Ronnie's quest. But first, no, okay, I'm skipping that. Fortisax time. Makar? Man, I was so excited for some big tough Eldamon, and I just get the most useless motherfucker of all time. Makar, use Flamethrower. Makar, you gotta aim down, buddy. Makar, use any other move. Makar? Makar, please just aim down. You gotta do something. God f***ing Makar, you fat. Fine, he's got a lot of health at least. I think I'll wrap up Ronnie's quest while I'm at it, so that way I can see who replaces Estelle. On the way, I caught a Lion Guardian, which was pretty cool. These guys are sick. Also, the Baleful Shadow was just a snail guy. Just felt like you guys should know that. Ladies and gents, who do we have in place of Estelle? Aw, hell yeah, this is what I'm talking about. Finally, someone hot and juicy. I caught the Fire Giant, a major addition to my team. Surely he will last a very long time. After that, I wrapped up Professor Ronnie's quest line. My team is pretty stacked now, so I'm gonna give Melania a real shot. I fixed the Lazymon problem by just running to the other side of the arena and summoning over there. I started off with a Lion Guardian. He had less than stellar aim though, and I had to pull him out really fast. Next up, the Fire Giant. The Fire Giant pounded that woman, but there's one huge problem. She still has her health steal ability. That means that even with the Fire Giant beating the ever-loving shit out of her, she could just get it all back really fast. Speaking of really fast, I lost the Fire Giant. I won't make you watch the whole rest of the fight, but I lost the Ancestor Spirit and the Tree Sentinel as well. A shocking turn of events though, Makar did really well. Well, I'm definitely not ready for her, so I'm gonna do some soul searching. Like against Godfrey before her, I need a very capable team. I caught Siluria, and then I ran into someone I was not expecting to see out in the wild. The Baleful Shadow. This guy is essentially Blade, I don't know, but instead of a frost sword, he has a sword imbued with Destined Death, which is an awesome tool to have because Destined Death is mad powerful. I caught a couple more Mons while I was out, before setting my sights on Volcano Manor and the gym badge held within. Before I can get my badge from killing Rykard's replacement, I first need to take care of... Yeah, I'll worry about that in a minute. He looks like a fucking chandelier. For some reason, this room causes lazy mons. I tried to handle it myself, but with just a dagger, there wasn't much I could do. I was kinda stuck. That was until the least likely suspect, Makar, swooped in and melted, literally melted, Placidusax. Now it's time for our next gym battle. Let's see who the gym leader is. Well, this shouldn't be too bad. The Dragonkin soldier wasn't able to do much, so I threw in Godfrey next. He got a few hits in, but then he got blasted down to 1 health. I was able to trade him out just in time for Placidusax. He came in and did a bit of damage, but keep in mind, this is a scaled up version of the Gargoyle, so he hurt Placidusax pretty bad. I didn't want to risk losing him, so I brought in Makar. Makar sure has grown up. He charged in and did more damage than any of my other Eldamon had done combined. He also triggered the second Valiant Gargoyle to summon. Didn't know I was gonna do that, to be honest. 2v1 or not, Makar did fantastic. The first Gargoyle got killed by the lava, and the second one was pretty low on health. I sent out the Baleful Shadow to finish him off, and he did exactly that. But the fight wasn't over yet. No, Phase 2 started with the legendary Eldamon Fortisax. I was nervous when I saw him, but the Baleful Shadow put my mind at ease. He managed to almost defeat Fortisax single-handedly, but after taking a massive fire blast, I pulled him out just to be safe. The fight was now up to my Lion Guardian. He ran right in, and behind the smokescreen of Deathblight, he got in some hits that brought down this legendary Eldamon. My 4th badge and another legendary added to my team. With such a powerful team, I should be able to take down Melania no sweat now, right? Well, you know me by now, I was wrong. I did much better getting her health bar all the way down before learning she does in fact have a second phase, which means this is way harder than I already thought it was. I only lost the Gargoyle to her this time around, but I needed some sort of advantage if I was gonna beat her and her second phase. The types I label the Eldamon with aren't always perfect, but they do sometimes have some real in-game roots. Melania is a fairy poison type, pretty self-explanatory, but she's also weak to fire, which doesn't exactly go in line with the types I gave her, but having this knowledge helps me a lot. I need a strong fire type to counter her, and I found him. Deathbird Face. That is the best name I've seen by far. That is just magical. I just realized it while I'm editing this video. Deathbird Face is a bird, which means he should probably be a flying type, but I wrote down Dark Fire, and I'm gonna just let Pastron be happy and keep it a Dark Fire type. Deathbird Face is a Ghost Fire type. Holy shit, I said the wrong thing while I'm editing. So he should be a great addition. This team will be the team I use to defeat Melania. I like to start with Fortisax, because similar to Regigigas in the Pokémon games, Fortisax has a slow start. Once he does get going though, he tears up. He also has a much larger health pool than most of my other Eldamon, which makes him instrumental in taking down Melania, who can heal by attacking. That being said, one Waterfowl restored a big chunk of her HP and forced me to switch Fortisax out. I figured I would give Deathbird Face a shot. I didn't have high expectations, but I could tell after his first attack that he was exactly what I needed. Not only does he do fire damage, but he's also resistant to slash damage and can keep up with Melania's speed. I know I said that Godfroy vs. Godfrey may be the most shocking upset I'd seen, but this one just may take it. The fight speaks for itself. I mean, he tore Melania a new one. Guess I should have been thinking about types more, huh? Well, that's my 5th badge. Beating Melania earns us a visit from our good friend Melina. Melina gives us the rolled medallion, which I can use to get to the mountaintops of the giants. The next 2 gym badges require us to get to the consecrated snowfields, which means that I first gotta beat Commander God Devouring Serpent. Holy shit, this is the last place I would have expected to see him. In preparing for Melania, I think I became jaded with just how strong my team had become, because look at this. The Baleful Shadow turned the serpent into f***ing sushi. I just might have a champion-worthy team here. I got both halves of the Haley Tree Medallion, took the secret lift, and arrived in the consecrated snowfields. I'd like to get the Blood Flame badge first, because I'm assuming that the Badge of Rot will be a bit tougher. I killed Riley the Idol to open the way gate to Mogwin's palace, and where am I? The path leading to the gym leader was pretty terrifying, considering that all the little blood guys that were around are all replaced with something else, but thankfully I made it through relatively unharmed. I rode the elevator and traversed the fog to find the Beast Clergyman. Well, this might be trouble. He's pretty fast and... wow. No phase 2? Yeah, okay, maybe I overprepared for this. Dope. Well, that's my 6th gym badge. I'm a bit nervous about this gym leader, mostly because regardless of who it is, they're gonna be scaled super high. Before I can even worry about that though, I have to defeat Moog, Knight of the Halig Tree. I know that this isn't the Lord of Blood Moog, but Moog being in the Halig Tree makes me incredibly uncomfortable. My team had a case of the Lazy Mons, but Deathbird Face made up for that. I ended up finishing him off myself though. Figured I might as well while he's that low. This is it though, the moment of truth. Who is Melania's replacement? Gideon! Aw, he's wearing Melania's armor. That's adorable. Well, this was a bit of a letdown, to be totally honest. Deathbird Face made him look like a joke. The randomizer giveth and the randomizer taketh away, huh? I defeated Gideon and could now set my sights on finishing off the run. In place of the Fire Giants Phase 1, we have Oh hey, it's Gohan for real this time. Well, I don't want to kill my buddy, but you gotta do what you gotta do. Unknowingly at the time, I created a rematch when I summoned Godfrey. I opened up with Gohan. Who better to fight against a big old man than a big old man? Godfrey won this fight without too much of a sweat and then had to fight himself in the Fire Giant's second phase. This version of Godfrey may be scaled up considerably, but he was no match for his more evolved form. After beating them, my partner Melina sacrificed herself to get me to Faro Missoula. The bosses in my way here should be pretty tough. Oh shit, I was not expecting her to be here. Renala put up a great fight, even summoning her own Eldamon to combat mine. It took a few months for me to take her down, but the Baleful Shadow used his Destined Death to crush her pretty heavily. There's one boss left here that I have to beat, but I wanted to check and see who I could catch in place of Placidusax before I did anything else. Dragon Lord Loretta. Well, that's neat, I guess. Okay, back to the main story, let's finish up this area. Starting off, we have the Beast Clergyman Leonine Misbegotten. That is quite a mouthful. Godfrey tore up my Misbegotten earlier, and he tore this one up too. And, in a super weird coincidence, Godfrey had to fight against himself again. He messed him up. Man, maybe I wasn't using Godfrey enough earlier. And here we are in the capital of Ash, the final frontier for my Eldamon randomizer journey. There's two bosses for me to take out before reaching the champion. First, we have Godric, the All-Knowing. Now, I don't know if it's because he's scaled to Gideon or what, but he got soloed by the Baleful Shadow. No biggie, Gideon's usually a freebie anyways. Let's see who the second boss is. Yeah, I was wondering if we were gonna see him. Placidusax was being lazy, but Makar did super well. Fire type versus fire type, it was pretty fun to watch. They went at it for a while, but I didn't want him to die, so I summoned Fortisax to take his place. This fight took quite a toll on my GPU, as you can see, but it was super cool. Fortisax was able to finish off the first phase and was rewarded with the Godskin duo for phase 2. I put in Deathbird Face, but he got lazy. I swapped him in for Godfrey, and Godfrey did what he does best. Hit people. He killed them. He killed them real good, and I wasted no time to confront the champions. Malekith was the first one. I was concerned almost immediately when I realized that the Baleful Shadow didn't just beat the shit out of him like he had everybody else. I tried to recall him, but I was too late. He fainted. A big loss, but it's not over. I threw out Old Faithful Godfrey next. Godfrey did great, but I did not. I underestimated how much damage Destined Death does, and I lost Godfrey too. I tried to have Makar finish him off, but Malekith stun-locked him and killed him too. Before I could even try anything else, I died myself. Well, maybe my team isn't invincible after all. I was pretty devastated with those losses, but I couldn't let it keep me down. I added the Godskin duo, both the Noble and Apostle individually, and Horaloo to make up for them. I rushed in before, but this time I know that it's not going to be easy like the last few bosses. I turned my hat backwards, channeled the power of friendship, and entered the arena. Placidusax was up first. Unfortunately, he got torn up something fierce, and then ended up missing all of his attacks, so I summoned the Godskin Apostle in his place. He also got destroyed, so I summoned the Godskin Noble in his place. The Noble put up a much better fight. Unfortunately, even he was no match for Malekith, and fainted before I could pull him out. Next, Deathbird Face. He hasn't disappointed me yet, and he didn't start now. He took some punishment, but he managed to defeat Malekith and begin phase 2. Wait, how the f***? Oh, this is Fire Giant's second phase. Deathbird Face disappeared for some reason, so I had to summon someone else. I figured Horaloo would do better against him because he might have an easier time dodging attacks than Fortisax. I have never been so right in my entire life. It was a bit anticlimactic, but Horaloo shredded the Fire Giant, barely even getting hit while doing it. It was truly beautiful. And with that, I've done it once again, but instead of taking the throne again, this time I'm gonna travel with Professor Ronnie. Who knows, maybe we'll see Dumpy Ketchum Jr. again someday, but until that day, I want to thank you all for watching. This whole premise has been really fun, and I think it only benefited from the randomizer. Let me know in the comments who you think the MVP for this run was. I think it was definitely BBK in the first video, but it's up for debate in this one. Personally, I think Godfrey, Deathbird Face, God, that's such a good name. Hell, even Makar and the Baleful Shadow are all in the running. But that's it for now. Thank you again for watching. Subscribe if you enjoyed. It's free. It makes me feel good inside. Blah, blah, blah. And I'll see you guys later. GG's.